A political unknown is seeking to unseat Nancy Pelosi, one of the country's most high-profile representatives.
The biggest challenge in this campaign for me is just trying to get out that I'm running, first of all, but also I'm running on a real message. I'm not just running to try to be the next person in there for another 40 years.
Saikat Chakrabarti is a Democrat and former tech engineer. A year and a half before the 2026 midterms, he's launched what he admits will be an uphill battle against one of the most powerful members of his party.
People want to see leadership that's fighting the current administration. I think this is a reason why there's tens of thousands of people coming to these rallies that Bernie and AOC are doing all over the country.
Congresswoman Pelosi has not announced whether she'll seek another term. She has filed a statement of candidacy, which allows her to raise money. Months after losing the White House and both chambers of Congress in the November election, Democrats find themselves searching for the future of their party. A new poll from earlier this month by the Associated Press shows only about a third of Democrats are very or somewhat optimistic about the party's future. Let's get some insight by turning, as we often do, to political analyst Brian Sobel. Thanks for being with us.
Good afternoon, Garcia. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to talk with you. Do you think anyone who featured prominently on the national stage, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, etc., will sort of stay in the game when it comes to Democrats going forward in such a prominent way?
They'll be on the periphery, I think, moving forward. But the Democrat Party has to find new leadership that can inspire people. And right now, what's happening with Dems is that they seem to be chasing the latest story from the president. Every day you see the Dems saying, well, we don't like this, we don't like that. Eventually, what has to happen, Garcia, is the Dems have to say, here are the people we want to lead our party, and here's what they stand for, and here's what they're going to bring to you, the constituency. This rearguard action against the administration right now is not producing confidence among Dems, regular voters, because they don't see how the Democrat Party is going to help lead them out of this morass.
Is there such a person, at least sort of, I feel like many political analysts are beating the bushes, trying to figure out, who's the next Barack Obama, right? Is there anyone out there that you might point to?
Well, that's the problem, is nobody is emerging. If you take a look at an AOC and whether she has presidential ambitions, she's way too far to the left for the mainstream public, even Democrats. So she may be a voice of conscience for her point of view, but she's not viable. Bernie Sanders isn't viable on a national level. They have a point of view. It's important for a lot of people. But Dems are struggling to find the one person who can really stand out front and say, follow me. And that person isn't there yet. And to your point, people are scouring the landscape to find somebody who can step forward. And you know what? Midterms are right around the corner, and the next presidential election isn't that far away either. And so it has to start happening pretty soon.
A lot of people looking to Governor Newsom's edict earlier this week that said local municipalities can now outlaw encampments on public spaces. Many would say that homelessness is the headline of his time in office. Some said, well, maybe he's getting tough, so it's more attractive on the national stage.
It's a good point. I think that when you see the governor traveling to other states, meeting with legislators in other states. He's the governor of California, and so some of the polling is suggesting very clearly that people want him to be governor of California and not a presidential aspirant. But it's very clear that he's out there testing the water, and but how he plays nationally will be the subject of a lot of discussion. And so far, he's not resonating necessarily with Dems across the country or constituents, voters across the country. So he has a lot of work to do. And of course, a lot of folks in California are saying, hey, can you just concentrate on our problems in California, our budget problems, our crime problems, our homelessness problems? Stay home and work on that a little bit.
Yeah. If we look at the same poll from about a year ago, if we back up months before the November election, enthusiasm was about double what it is right now for the future of the Democratic Party, largely because of former Vice President, then presidential candidate Kamala Harris. Has she completely ruled out another run for the White House?
No, I don't think a politician at the national level rules anything out because they do so many polls all the time to see where they fit in the public's mind. And so Harris, I think, is somebody who's on a national level, maybe thinking things through. You know, all these people who have been involved nationally continue to poll all the time. The governor polls all the time, but. I will comment on the fact that the party that's out of office, whichever party that is, Republicans, Democrats, always feel pessimistic about the country. Why? Because they're not in charge. And so the numbers that we're seeing with respect to the AP poll and Dems, it isn't shocking. It was, you know, some are very pessimistic, some are somewhat pessimistic, some are actually okay with things, waiting for a new Democrat to emerge. So this isn't atypical of polling at this time of a presidential cycle.
Back to former VP Harris. The California governorship will come up before the White House. Do you think she'll run for governor? And if she does, then that pretty much wipes out any White House hopes, right?
Absolutely. So she has some tough decisions to make in the very near term. She could come home to California, run for governor, and I think she'd be the leading candidate. Right. But as you say, that would take care of her national ambitions. But she and her team are going to take a hard look at whether she could be elected on a national level, and that's very much in question. So she's got some real political life decisions to make here very, very soon, just like Gavin Newsom and many other people.
Do you think Nancy Pelosi runs again?
That's a tough call. You know, she's been the speaker. She's been everything in Washington, D.C. She's a legend. And now, at her age and going back and forth to Washington all the time, all these people I've met over the years and have known over the years that are in Congress that go back and forth every week, they just get beat to death by the travel, if nothing else. And so she's not as young as she used to be, and one wonders whether she'll make another run.
Okay. Well, she's filed the papers to allow her to do so, but hasn't committed.
Absolutely.
Either way.
They all do that. I mean, it's everybody's got the paperwork and they can make a game time decision. The real question is whether she will.
Keep your options open, as they say. All right, Brian Sobel, we'll have to leave it here. It's good to connect with you. Thanks for joining us at noon.
Good to see you, Garcia. We'll chat soon, I know.
I am sure we will. All right.